Imagine lying on your back while your bare feet are tied to a wooden plank. A guard stands nearby holding a thin cane. Suddenly, the first blow lands across the soles of your feet. It feels like fire shooting through your nerves. You try to pull away, but the ties hold you down. The beating continues, stroke after stroke, until every step will feel like torture. This is foot whipping, also called bastinado or falanga. It is one of the most painful forms of corporal punishment ever used. Unlike many punishments that leave clear scars, bastinado damages the body in hidden ways, causing lifelong pain and fear. But why did so many societies rely on this cruel method? And how did it become a common punishment across continents and centuries? What is foot whipping? Foot whipping means beating the soles of someone's bare feet with an object like a cane, a stick, or a knotted rope. Unlike flogging the back, which can cause serious wounds and bleeding, bastinado is mainly designed to cause extreme pain without always leaving visible injuries. Because the feet are full of nerves and soft tissues, even light blows can feel unbearable. In some countries, this method has other names. Falanga in the Middle East and parts of Europe, Zohlenstreich in German, interrogations in Chinese, and foot caning or sole caning in English. The instrument used could be a simple stick, a flexible rod, or even thick ropes or leather straps. How was foot whipping performed? The process of foot whipping followed certain steps to make sure the victim couldn't move. In many places, the person was made to lie on their back with their legs raised. Their ankles were tied to a horizontal wooden plank or a metal bar. Sometimes a special device called a falaka was used to secure the feet. Other times the victim was forced to kneel or sit while helpers held their legs steady. In some prisons, prisoners were strapped to benches or forced to bend over chairs. Once the person was restrained, the punisher would use a cane, rod, or cord to strike the soles repeatedly. The number of blows could vary from just a few to over 70 in some recorded cases. The pain of bastinado was so intense that it often caused people to faint or go into shock. Even when the skin didn't split open, the deep bruising could make walking impossible for days or weeks. Where was foot whipping used? Foot whipping has a long history in many parts of the world. Ancient China used bastinado as a standard punishment for minor crimes. Records date back as early as the year 960. Small infractions could result in 20 strokes, which were called fatherly correction. Larger offenses received harsher beatings. Ottoman Turkey and other Middle Eastern empires also used bastinado widely. The technique spread to colonial India, where British officers sometimes used it to punish tax offenders. In Europe, foot whipping appeared in German territories as early as the 1500s. It was used in schools, prisons, and workhouses. During the Nazi regime, it became a common punishment in concentration camps and prisons across Germany and occupied countries like Denmark and Norway. In Greece, during the dictatorship of the colonels from 1967 to 1974, surveys showed that 83% of prisoners reported being bastinadoed. In Spain, Algeria, and Palestine, colonial powers used foot whipping to extract confessions. Even in the United States, reports show that juvenile institutions used bastinado into the 1960s. How did foot whipping affect the body? Many people think that because bastinado doesn't usually break the skin, it doesn't cause real harm. But medical evidence shows this is false. The soles of the feet have thousands of nerve endings. Each blow creates intense, burning pain. The tissue underneath the skin can bruise, swell, and sometimes even bleed internally. Victims often could not walk for days. In severe cases, repeated bastinado caused nerve damage and chronic pain that lasted years. Doctors examining survivors of torture have found hyperpigmentation or dark spots on the soles as a physical sign of this abuse. This evidence has even been used to support asylum claims for torture victims. Why was foot whipping so popular? There were several reasons why foot whipping became widespread. First, it was cheap and simple. All it required was a stick and a place to tie the prisoner. Unlike other punishments, it didn't need elaborate equipment. Second, authorities liked that bastinado often left fewer visible scars. This meant they could inflict extreme pain without obvious proof of mistreatment. In situations like interrogations, this was seen as an advantage. Third, the psychological impact was powerful. Prisoners who had been bastinadoed described the fear of the next beating as worse than the pain itself. This made it an effective tool for controlling and intimidating people. Is foot whipping still used today? Unfortunately, bastinado has not disappeared. Reports show that foot whipping continues in some countries, often as an illegal form of torture. Examples include Saudi Arabia, where it has been used as part of judicial sentences; Tunisia, where security forces have been accused of using it against political prisoners; Russia, where it has been reported in detention facilities; Zimbabwe, where police allegedly used it against opposition members; Iraq, during Saddam Hussein's regime; in Bahrain, it was used by security officers against dissidents between 1974 and 2001. Even today, international human rights organizations still document cases of bastinado as a form of torture. What does literature say about bastinado? Foot whipping appears in many famous stories and plays. In Shakespeare's comedy As You Like It, the character Touchstone threatens someone with poison or bastinado. In Mozart's operas, characters are threatened with bastinado as punishment. In The Magic Flute, Sarastro orders 77 strokes on the soles of the feet. In Mark Twain's Innocents Abroad, Twain describes a traveler who could be punished with bastinado for damaging the Sphinx. These references show how common and feared foot whipping was in past centuries. What can we learn from foot whipping? Foot whipping is a clear example of how punishment can cross the line into torture. While some saw it as a way to maintain discipline or extract information, modern research shows the terrible impact it has on the body and mind. Today, most countries ban this practice under international law, but the fact that it still happens reminds us that protecting human rights is an ongoing struggle. Foot whipping is not just an old story from history books. For many people, it is a lived reality that leaves both physical and emotional scars. Learning about bastinado helps us understand why societies must be careful about how they use punishment, and why pain is never a substitute for justice. What are your thoughts about foot whipping? Share your opinion in the comments below. If you'd like to learn more about punishment worldwide and throughout the ages, don't forget to like and subscribe for more videos.